Well, hey y'all, I hope you're doing great today. I know if maybe a lot of people are like myself, there have been times and seasons in your life where perhaps you felt like maybe you had done something that was just so bad. Just so bad you couldn't tell anybody. And maybe things happened in your life and you kind of felt like that maybe even God didn't want anything to do with you. I know I've had those moments in my life before, but let me tell you something today. God never intended for you and I to live through life and live life with shame and guilt and condemnation. I'm not saying maybe things happen or we do things that opens the door for those things. But I want you to understand that God doesn't intend for you to go through life feeling that way. He's made provision for you and I both. I'm reminded of a story in the Bible of this woman who was talking to Jesus one day, and Jesus basically told her, he said, I'm able to give you life-giving, life-sustaining water. And this woman said, Lord, I want this water. And so Jesus spoke to her and he said, well, get your husband. And this woman said, well, I have no husband. And this was what was amazing. Jesus already knew where this was going. And he said, you said right that you don't have a husband. He said, you've actually had 5 husbands, and the guy you're with now is not your husband. Now, the Bible didn't say who he was. Maybe he was someone else's husband. It really is irrelevant at this point. But what I want you to understand and what I want you to see, and this maybe will help somebody, is that this woman in her predicament, in her situation, in her shame and guilt and all of these things, it didn't bother Jesus. It didn't bother him. It didn't keep him from wanting to have relationship and say, listen, I'm here to give you something, to give you hope, to give you life, to give you a future. And all of your past, all of the stuff going on in your life, that doesn't bother me. And that helped me understand with all of the problems in my life, when all of the baggage and the shame of my past, it wasn't to the point that it bothered him, that he wouldn't love me, that he wouldn't care for me. And I want you to know today that no matter what you've done in your past, and hey, look, let's just make it real. No matter what you may be going through right now in your life, no matter what you may have done yesterday or even last night or even today, I want you to know that God does love you. And I want you to know He's made provision for you and for me. He's made a way for you and I to receive life-giving, life-changing water from Him, because He is that river of life. He is the life giver, if you will. He said, I came to give you abundant life. And I want you to know today that regardless of your past and regardless of what's happened in your life, God does not intend on you or me going through life alone. Listen, He put us here to work together. And I want to encourage you today, get hooked up. Get hooked up with a good church. Get hooked up with a church of believers, people who love God, people who want to do life together. And I want to encourage you, get plugged in, get hooked up and plugged in with a life-giving, life-sustaining church that's going to love on you, that's going to help you make life and work through life together. Because listen, we're not in this thing alone. I'm not in this alone. You're not in this alone. Not only do we have God, but listen, we've got fellow believers, brothers and sisters who love us and who are going to be there to encourage. And I want you to know somebody's praying for you. No matter what you're facing, somebody's praying for you. Somebody's willing to stand in that gap with you and support you and encourage you. We're here for you, and I want you to know God loves you, and so do we. And look, we'll be talking to you again real soon. God bless you on behalf of me and Joe. We love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you soon.